So as discussed in the previous video, we are now going to talk about consent with respect to the legal obligations and the services that fiduciaries provide, and when is it appropriate to take a consent, or when is it appropriate to choose any other lawful basis. Welcome to my YouTube channel where you regularly see new content on data privacy, and as I said, we are going to talk about what should be the right lawful basis for you to choose when you are processing or collecting personal information. Lawful basis confuses organizations. Many organization thinks it's a legal formality. I just need to say this is the reason. I've defined the purpose. I've defined the purpose properly. I've taken a consent. I've published a privacy notice, and my responsibility is over. Fear of penalties leads later into conservative decisions. Many organizations ignore any other lawful basis and, to be on a safer side, take consent. Operational realities are ignored, different purposes get fixed. Why? Because now I have a consent. So I have a consent for something I didn't need a consent, and then I'm saying no, because I have a consent, I can do anything that I want, right? And there's a long-term DPDP risk associated with it. What lawful basis actually is, it is something that justifies why data is processed. It's a justification. You know why you are processing the data, so you decide whether you need a consent or not, considering the few options that the DPDP Act has given, which allow you to decide whether you need a consent or not, or you are processing it for a lawful reason. This aligns with the actual purpose. One activity may have multiple purposes. Different purposes may need different bases of processing. Lawful basis is not a one-time choice. It's far more beyond just a one-time choice. So lawful basis must reflect the reality and not just assumptions. Right? It should be there. There has to be a reality behind it, not just left to assume things. Three basic things. You take a consent. A simpler one, you take it always. Or there's a legal obligation, there is some jurisdiction and all going on a piece of information, and you are required to process for that legal obligation or for delivering a service or a contract. Therefore, you need to be careful about this. These are the real world scenarios, and we'll get into a bit more details of what DPDP allows us to choose from. Consent is applicable and appropriate when you want to give the processing option to individual. When processing is required, individual has no option to decline processing or consent, then why consent? Right? These are called legal obligations. When your processing is not part of a legal or contractual obligation, individual has a real choice and you can allow him to make a real choice. Refusal does not block core services. Purpose is well explained. And withdrawal is not practically possible. Strange. But as I said earlier also, when the user cannot be given the choice to decide whether he wants his data to be processed or not, I don't need consent. But what are those scenarios? Those scenarios are when you are required to process someone's information by law or by regulations. Legally it is required. There's a legal issue, a criminal case on some piece of information. It has to be processed for it, right? Processing is needed to deliver a public service. I need to do vigilance. Because there's a terror threat in the area. Now, if I'll announce that and wait for everyone who comes in through and passes through this area gives me a consent, does not make sense. If I want to announce as a privacy notice that says, oh, I'm now going to put up a surveillance here, then the terrorists know it, right? So it does not make sense in that case as well. Data's use is unavoidable for any kind of execution, any critical contract. For example, Government of India gives benefits to some categories of citizens, and data is required to be processed for it. You don't have the option of choosing whether I want or whether I don't want. Processing is done for a medical research, even in case of COVID. It was important for neighbors to know that there is a COVID infected person in this house. Simple. So it was important. Processing for national security, sovereignty, terror attacks, one of the parts of national security also, right? Then again the same thing. Would I announce to the terrorists first? No, I would just execute. And we need to perform some safeguards for the country. Where do the organizations go wrong? Organizations go wrong when they take one consent and think all processing is covered under this consent, which practically means they are mixing various purposes within a consent. Treating employee data as a consent driven data, ignoring obligations that are defined by law, not revisiting basis as processes evolve. Now that's interesting. Not revisiting the basis as the processes are evolving, and you are documenting decisions without any reasoning. Right? You're documenting your decisions without giving any reasons for why you are documenting those reasons. So that's about processing using choosing a lawful basis for processing. I hope you like the content of the video. Please press the bell and the like icon, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll continue our discussion about these lawful bases in the future videos as well. Thank you.